While the legislative session is months away, the Oklahoma House and Senate chambers were packed this week with lawmakers and their families. Newly elected members of the legislature took their oaths of office, vowing to obey the U.S. and Oklahoma constitutions and to accept only what they are legally paid as compensation for their work. On the sidelines were everyday Oklahomans waiting for a chance to influence how that work gets done.
Oklahoma Supreme Court Chief Justice John Reif administered the oath of office in both the Oklahoma House and the Senate.
If you'll raise your right hand, please. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear.
In the House, it was a mass event. In the Senate, only the newly elected or re-elected members stood to take the oath. Galleries were packed with family members and close friends. Also in the crowd were people who were on a mission to get some citizen input into the legislative process. Dan Myers had hoped to be on the floor of the Oklahoma House to take that oath of office. He ran for House District 81 in a first-time effort at politics. Even though he didn't win, Myers was back in the Capitol, this time to send the message, "Let's fix this."
So we want the legislators to know that we're going to be here not just every 2 years or every 4 years, but we're going to be here when you're getting sworn in to hold you guys accountable.
The organization plans to do that by urging people to show up at the state capitol and let their lawmakers know what they want done.
For the general populace to realize that they have a responsibility to be in touch with their legislators, to reach out to them, and the legislators have a responsibility to respond as well.
Andy Moore, executive director of Let's Fix This, hopes regular citizens will begin to influence lawmakers on policy and priorities.
Lots of people want to be involved, but not everyone knows how to get involved. And so what we've kind of done is just create a funnel through which they can find a way to get involved.
The fourth floor rotunda at the state capitol is home to lobbyists who are paid to work the halls of the state capitol. But for everyday Oklahomans, their voices are rarely heard.
The legislators aren't hearing from you. They're hearing from those lobbyists who are standing out in that rotunda waiting for them all day, every day.
And then we can go out with them to the office of whoever the legislator is to make that appointment and have a conversation face-to-face with their representative or their senator so they can express what's important to them.
And Moore says even though this group is very diverse in political beliefs, most share issues in common that they can work together on to do something about.
Having a secure and sound state budget is in the best interest of everybody. I think most everyone wants things like education to be funded correctly. We all want, roads that aren't riddled with potholes. We want bridges that don't crumble.
Dan Myers says people need to know how lawmakers are voting in order to really be able to decide if the person they voted into office is doing the job they had in mind. Myers believes already the evidence shows voters will likely be disappointed when they find out the truth.
When we look at what's going on with schools and how underappreciated and underpaid our educators are, that's just the tip of the iceberg in my opinion. And the hope is to kind of bring that awareness out there to folks. This is really what's going on.
And there's another group whose presence will be clearly felt at the state capitol this year, teachers who are still waiting on a pay raise.
It's become cool to be pro-public education. We're seeing people that send out mailers that say they are, when it's never been talked about before. Maybe they'll say, I'm pro-education, but that public part, that public education is what we haven't seen.
Angela Clark-Little is leader of a group that began to form back in 2014. Oklahoma Parents and Educators for Public Education got teachers so energized that more than 30 of them signed up as first-time candidates for seats in the legislature. As it turned out, most of them lost, but Clark-Little says overall her organization came out on the high side.
We had about 46 wins, some educators, some parents, some board members, administrators, and so I think we had a pretty good amount of our candidates to win.
And now they count many more public education supporters in the House and Senate.
We flagged all the safe or, good votes for public education, and that's how we flagged them, was with an apple.
Clark-Little says with the defeat of State Question 779, the next move on funding for public education is up to the Oklahoma House and Senate.
There was a lot of current legislators that, made sure they were opposed to Bourne's plan, so guess what? It's back to you. What are you going to do?
Oklahoma Parents and Educators for Public Education now boasts over 27,000 members. Let's Fix This has well over 600. Citizens getting engaged in the political system to change the discussion at the state capitol. How much weight they will have remains to be seen as the battle has begun over who gets what in fiscal year 2018, especially with a budget hole looming somewhere around $700 million.